Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. We are at 1025 Southwest Flyshower Lane here in McMinnville. I describe everything as if you're standing in the street facing the front of the house. So we are out in front of in front of the home here, kind of off to the right of the front door, I suppose you could call it. 3-inch ABS cleanout sticks way out of the ground here, can't miss it. We're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Oops, going the wrong way here. Alright, we're going to zero the foot counter out. Water's running. Off we go. Got a little bit of grease built up in the line. That's that stuff my camera's scraping off the pipe here and there. Thus far, it does not look terribly significant. We'll get a better view on the way out, though. My camera, when it scrapes it loose, often kind of exaggerates the look of it. It looks like a pretty thin layer. I most don't think about. Well, you get a lot of grease going down line. It does indeed have an impact on the functionality of the line, especially when you have large households like mine with a bunch of little kids in it. Now we're into what looks like 6-inch concrete pipe. And I've got kind of an awkward setup here. I'm kind of around the corner from my monitor is, so I'm going to do most of my commentary as we pull back in. I can't watch the screen for a lot of this. At least on the advance out, I can't. Alright, looks like our main connection there. About 49 feet out. We're going to go locate things here while the line drains off. We'll have a better view of everything as we come back in. Alright, located the camera head successfully. Line terminates out on Southwest Flyshower. As the line makes its way out to the street, again, it comes out here, you know, if the doorway is relative to most homes. It's kind of to the right of the doorway, essentially. As you goes under the driveway, and it runs down the right side portion of the driveway. Pretty close to the middle of the driveway, but oriented to the right side. And nice close-in main lateral. Last house I just did over here, the main lateral is completely on the opposite side of the street. You have to span the entire width of the roadway. This one, the main lateral's, I mean, probably only 2 to 3 feet off the curb. And generally speaking, McMinnville, unless something's changed here of recent, I used to do a lot more out here in the years past. The city takes responsibility for the sewer line. I believe it's at the right-of-way. If nothing else, it's at the street edge. It's been long enough, I can't remember exactly, but... Anyway, going back to the grease thing, I'm a big stickler on it. I've been doing this 13 years. cambered about 25,000 sewer lines, and I've gotten to the point where grease buildup, in my opinion, is more concerning than a lot of structural issues, like bellies, offset joints, things like that. Grease buildup coupled with often abusive items and or gigantic balls of toilet paper, which are essentially abusive too, because they lack the ability to disintegrate properly and move freely through the line. Grease is often a huge culprit behind a minor, even fairly significant structural issue. Slows things down. Everything that, a lot of times when you flush a toilet, for instance, your average home with a low flow toilet, when you flush the toilet, those solids are, you're lucky if they're making it 30 feet. It takes a conjunction of toilet flushes, running the shower to actually convey everything from point A to point B. So when that stuff does stop up, you don't want it stopping up in a big pile of grease, because it ends up adhering to it. The toilet paper and or whatever product it is gets impregnated with grease, and it becomes essentially waterproof and doesn't disintegrate properly. The other thing that happens when you do get your good old-fashioned balled-up toilet paper blockages like your kids like to create, those very frequently will break loose on their own, in many cases without you even realizing it happened. You take that same scenario with a bunch of grease buildup, and that blockage that would otherwise break it can now withstand 30, 40 feet because of how well it's glued to the pipe wall. So it's a good maintenance item. It does a great deal to mitigate blockages, whether your line has any issues or not. I'm just getting to locate here, see where the concrete pipe started. Concrete pipe functions nicely. I'm not recommending any fixes on it. Where we are right now is basically about halfway down the driveway. We're just, if you were, or I guess I should do it from the same orientation I've been talking from. If you're walking from the street up the driveway, just before you hit halfway up the driveway, probably within about 2 feet of that center line that divides the top and bottom portions of the driveway, that's right about where the line transitions there. And just a foot or two in from the center line separates right and left. And that might be where the right-of-way is. I don't know the year or era of this house. It looks a little bit older than a house that would normally have ABS plumbed into it, so it may have had some updating. There's often a reason why you get those transitions where they are, though. And that could very well be where the right-of-way is. Either way, the concrete pipe functions very nicely. There's nothing there that needs to be dealt with. But for instance, if the right-of-way or wherever responsibility changes hands is further down than that, and you do have, let's say 10, 15 feet of concrete pipe on your property, concrete pipe in general, the reason I was looking at that is just so you can be aware of, approximately how much you might have on property and your responsibility. Concrete does not hold up quite as nicely as your plastic pipes do, especially the pipe joints. It's the joints that wear out over time that can become problematic. And I've already seen backwards at the very start of the video. My camera already turned backwards to see through the foundation wall. Zero gradation issues or anything going back that direction. But as the grout wears out down the road here a little bit, start to expose themselves to the ground. And the first thing that happens is groundwater and dirt start to seep through. And it can lead to a slow but sure process of the line settling due to hydro erosion. The line can start pulling dirt through it that's supporting the sewer line. So with the advent of epoxy liners, which is a trenchless repair system, you can clean out in order to do it. But generally speaking, it still saves money. It behooves you to keep an eye on the line. You don't need to lose sleep over it, but rescope the line every 2-3 years to monitor the pipe joints. If you start to see them open up to the ground, generally speaking, it saves a lot of money, especially when your line goes under a driveway. We are not there today. I'm just talking into the future if you're here long enough to see any of that stuff happen. As we sit here today, great flow end to end. All the ABS pipe is in good condition. The grease buildup is very minimal. There was hardly any to speak of. Just the way my camera went down the pipe, it kind of oriented to the side of the pipe there and scraped some stuff loose. But very minimal grease buildup. And the concrete pipe too, also in good shape for its age, intact, has great slope and grade. No bellies or anything. Sewer line is functioning properly at this time.